A leader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. This quote from John Maxwell applies to my guest today. Hey there, welcome to another edition of Spirited Conversation with Spirited Leaders. My guest today is the Director Corporate Affairs, Media, PR and Communication for John Deere for India, Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia and Asia Pacific. He holds a graduate degree in business from IIM Bangalore and a degree in engineering from Allahabad University. He's also a certified coach from Neuro Leadership. Mr. Mukul Varshney has joined John Deere in 1999 after serving Mahindra and Mahindra in the automotive division for 11 years. He has over 31 years of experience in channel management, strategy and business planning, new business models, sales and human resource process reengineering, agribusiness, and biofuel management. He leads efforts in various capacities as a board, governing council, and executive member on trade and various industry association bodies. During the COVID crisis, his recommendation got noticed by central as well as the state government and at an industry level. He's a strong advocate promoting equity for women in agricultural mechanization and has been spearheading to drive specific efforts here. Mr. Varshney has demonstrated passion for modernizing the Indian agriculture, making significant contributions in key areas such as agricultural mechanization submissions, food and water security missions, post-harvest residue management, agri-entrepreneurship, and custom hiring spaces in the country. He is the council member for Vision 2020 Cotton Mechanization Program, integrating farming solutions and skill development for agricultural sector. I'm delighted to present my spirited conversations with Mr. Mukul Varshney. Thank you so much, sir, for giving me your time and welcome to my channel.
Aparna, thank you so much. Thank you for such a detailed introduction for myself.
Pleasure, sir. You have such vast experience in diverse roles, and it seems to me that you're passionate about agriculture. Is there a story behind this?
Yes, actually, when I was a little boy, I was grown in Allahabad Agriculture Institute, and what I saw around me was huge farms. I also saw a lot of innovation happening there. We had Japanese, we had Germans, we had Americans all around as my father's colleague. So when I saw as a little boy what's happening in agriculture and how machines run, what research is happening, how new crops are being talked about, how new seeds are being developed, how productivity is being talked about, I think my childhood has a large role to play in my current career.
That's wonderful. What we learn in our childhood has tremendous impact on our lives, right? I'm curious to know though, is there any particular event that has happened in your life which impacted you in a big way? And if you could share your learning from that.
Well, I would narrate two here. One is, of course, when we used to, as children, visit Farmers Fair, meet a lot of professors, scientists, innovators, researchers, and at the same time, a lot of farmers. I could see a correlation as to what farmers need from us. When we get educated, I think there is a strong commitment that we have to give it back to the farming communities because they look at institutions, academia, researchers, and the industry for transforming their lives. So that was one. Two was more of a personal experience. And I think I would like to narrate this, which actually gets me more grounded every time, is when my younger daughter was kidnapped. You know, this is something that shook me for life. And my commitment towards woman child or a girl child or woman advancement grew significantly from that point. This was at Dadar when we were going for a short holiday, and Konkan railways were pretty new those times. So we decided not to drive to Goa, but take that Konkan and experience that. And the other being such a crowded railway station, my younger daughter got kidnapped, and it was such a professional network of people who do this. I so wish that we become a more safe country. And of course, we have transited to a much more stronger economy in India, where there is a lot of focus around women, women empowerment, women safety. I wish it was there at that time. So that incident actually got me, my wife, completely scared, left, and we were running here and there to seek help from people. And that's the time I realized people have less interest in your personal problems. They are very committed to their own lives, and especially in city like Bombay. It was just a matter of chance that on the overbridge I saw her shoes, and I ran like a bullet. I mean, I can say, I don't know from where the God must have given me that energy. I ran after that guy. There were two guys and a lady who were very easily carrying my daughter. And after pushing a lot of people, getting a lot of abusers, I could navigate my way. And they were actually about to cross platform number one, where I caught them. And big argument happened, but thanks to the Almighty that I got my daughter back. But that incident shook me, my wife, my family. And we were since then trying to see if we can create way for a safer environment or encourage women in different roles, because we need that if we have to be a stronger country and a better society.
I can't imagine the kind of ordeal you could have gone through, and as a parent, I totally empathize. I can't imagine losing a child or even the thought of it. So, thank you for supporting women in general, and specifically for women in agriculture. They are significant contributors to that sector, to that industry. However, I would love to hear your thoughts on supporting women in agricultural mechanization, which is the cause that you believe in. So, few thoughts on that.
Yes, and I must give credit to Dr. Suman Singh, who was the professor and head at MPUAT Udaipur, when she wrote an article on women drudgery. This article was very well received by us at John Deere, and we first met her in 2011 in her office at Udaipur. Um, Going through the article and also after talking to her, we as an organization thought it was very important to work around this particular topic where the woman undergo the drudgery part of the agriculture. So the first program that we did was for 5 to 6 years, and I must thank the senior leadership of John Deere for actually involving me in that. This was driven by corporate citizenship leadership and also the worldwide chairman of John Deere personally, along with several other leaders and presidents, where we looked at the women who undergo drudgery every single day, especially in agriculture area. Agriculture, there are two parts to it, I would say. One is you prepare the land and then you use the machines to prepare the land. But then the rest of the work, like weeding or removing grain from the harvest, all that is done manually. And it is actually a very painful process. Women actually tend to have problems in their backbones, in their hip joints, in their fingers, in their vision, and many of them get bitten by snakes and the kind of um, creatures that are there in the agriculture field, especially if it's closer to the forest area and all that. So Dr. Suman Singh got us activated there, and this program led us to first bring micro technology, semi-manual technology to the women farmers, where the drudgery part could be reduced. And in 5 years, we realized that not only their farm productivity went up, but they felt more healthier. They had more time for their family. They could do things that they really wanted to do. And that further motivated us. Today, as we talk, I think we are talking about women who can drive tractors as men would do it, use implements as men would do it, and we have several examples across the country where women are trained to drive tractors. And fortunately, I would say John Deere makes tractors which are actually general neutral. Now, when I say general neutral, there is a power system. We were the first to bring it. Oil immersed brakes, we were the first to bring it. Side shift gear mechanism, we were first to bring it. And this helps because women wear sari and all. The gear levers in between legs, most of the time, get them entangled and find it very difficult. So when the features on the tractors were softer, they found it very easy to adapt, use, get themselves skilled on that. And today, there are more than, I would say, 70, 80 women who use tractors. To those I know, and there would be more, but to those I know and who have personally been trained at John Deere, and they are economically independent. There is a pride in the family. Their kids feel very proud of what their mothers are doing because they are icon in that village, right? So that's the another story I thought would be important as we talk about women inclusion in agriculture. They're actually working as agri entrepreneurs, so this is very nice.
Indeed, I am privileged to have seen these machines by myself during the recent 25th year event at your factory. And
Well,
Okay,
I'm glad
so
that you took time and you came and you know I'm glad to get your email and the feedback. So thank you for that.
my pleasure.
I'd like to come back to your own story, sir. You've been a leader or in the leadership position for quite a while. So I'd like to understand from you what has influenced you as a leader.
This is a very evolving process because, but the only thing that I would tell here is when you are at a position where you are supposed to take decision, you actually are under the radar by employees, by society, by people in the external world. And therefore, your conduct, your behavior, choice of words, you're seen as an inspiration, you know. And one has to be very careful on several parameters and genuinely there because you can fake things, but you get caught pretty soon on that. So until and unless that genuinity is in you, you cannot be an inspirational individual for either your employees, in your society, or in external stakeholder. These fake things surface pretty fast and it gets seen by people very easily. So genuinity in terms of people welfare, people inclusion, genuinity in including them in ideas, in empowering them, genuinity as you go back home, because you cannot take your position back home and be ingenuine at home, right? So that something is, I would say, very, very important. I learned it from my father. My father was the dean of the university, and I recall that how well respected an individual he was. So it actually comes from there. But then at the same time, I see several leaders, people like yourself, for example. So you learn from everyone every single day, every minute of the day. From the time you enter or leave your society, come to your office, everybody teaches you something or the other. The more vigilant you are, the more absorbing you are, I think the more genuine and more humble you are in the long run. And that matters a lot to really be an influencing individual.
I'm so happy you use the word authentic because that is my word of the year 2023. Authenticity, not just for others, but more so for your own self. And when leaders are authentic, the organizations get to gain so much more from them. there is tremendous improvement in their organizational bottom line, the growth, as well as the team that is around, team with that leader, with the authentic leader. So, coming back to your story, sir, I'd like to understand what is this one trait that you believe future leaders should have that can help them in their own leadership journey.
Yeah, I think you talked about authentic leadership, and there is something called servant leadership as well. And the moment you get to a power of decision making, leadership is all about decision making, but decision making is actually involving everyone and making the right decisions. But authenticity is one, and then the willingness to help others grow is another. Now, that is actually a trait which I think distinguishes individuals from the rest of the leaders. It actually helps you at home because you are very comfortable doing that when your wife is there, your children are there, your parents are there. And when you come to the office, you actually engage with your team because you have a commitment. How can I help these people grow? See, everybody, I think, comes to the workplace with the aspiration to grow. And many leaders, if they don't create that environment, somewhere the team bonding dies out pretty fast. I think the concept of servant leadership, as I just mentioned, plays a significant role in encouraging others, guiding them, mentoring them, helping them take decisions, and over a period of time grow in their own career and become responsible because it has two effects. One, the team is very motivated, they are engaged. Two, when they become leaders, they actually inculcate the same values to their peers and subordinates, and the whole organization then turns into a different culturally oriented organization, I would say.
Awesome, sir. So I pick up humility and authenticity so far from what you just said. What about failures? Because as when leader fails, there tend to be certain vulnerabilities, certain emotions that comes into fore. So how do you think a leader, a servant leader, should handle failures, and how do you think they should handle the vulnerabilities and emotions that come along with it?
Yeah, so see, I have experienced failures in my life, in my previous organization and the current organization. And failure to the extent that it had a financial implications on the organization. Now, if you genuinely understand what led to that failure, and you have an alternate plan as to how you can come out of it and fix things in such a way that it doesn't impact the organizational growth, I think that the way you deal with it, the way you seek leaders involvement into a better decision making makes a huge difference to us. I have actually been very vocal about accepting that yes, it is my own failure. And I have reached to senior leaders, I have reached to my team, I have reached to my peer groups. Here is something that has bothered me. Here is something that I probably didn't think through and which has led to this failure. What's that we can do? One, to fix it. Two, to ensure that these things become lessons for future and we don't repeat them in days to come. I think in the organization, everybody is willing to help. There is a co-ownership that exists in every organization, especially in company like John Deere. People like to see what we learn from failures and how we can help navigate through it. My seniors have been very helpful, but in a failure, accepting and acknowledging becomes very, very critical. And as a leader, I think you should put yourself first before you put anyone else because you are a decision maker. So acknowledging, accepting, And learning through this is something which I learned in both, in my previous organization, current organization, and I think that helped me navigate. And it also helped me become even more robust, more careful, more analytical, so that we don't repeat things like that. Now, also one thing that I'd like to say that we are professionally well connected with the, in the office, but that doesn't work. I think there has to be the emotional connect, there has to be a spiritual connect, there has to be an intellectual connect. So there has to be an all-rounded connect with the teams and seniors. Only then you become a powerful team. Only then they come and help you and rescue in situations and difficult times.
So we started this conversation with a quote from John Maxwell, which basically says that a leader should walk the talk. And so what I'm picking from you is also that a leader needs to be mindful about the way they conduct themselves, right? So what are your thoughts on mindfulness as a concept and living in the present moment and from a leadership standpoint, of
See, I
course?
have experienced that there are people, and there will be people in the future as well, who always talk future. If you don't do this, this is how the future will be. But I think the pandemic and the Ukraine war has taught us a lot that future can change overnight. And therefore, what we are doing today and how that is going to impact us tomorrow becomes even more important. Of course, nobody knew what's the geopolitical dynamics that will change after Ukraine war and how the world will behave after the COVID. But in good times or in bad times, our current matters a lot. What you are delivering every single day matters a lot. And therefore, I would say that as at least a person like me thinks about the value that we leave every single day is equally important as we plan to deliver value tomorrow. Many people would behave differently, engage differently today because they think the value tomorrow is more important. But I think it's as important as the value today. So I would say keeping today's deliverables, keeping today's commitment, keeping today's engagement is as important because that has a very strong bearing as you go and plan things and execute things and deliver things tomorrow. So that is something that should not be a loose end by any individual, is what I would say.
I'd also like to know your thoughts on adapting to change because change is something that we all know is constant. We had COVID, then we had Ukraine war, we have Ukraine war, it's still going on, and we also have the looming recession upon us. So, how do or what do you think a leader should do to adapt to this change, or what would you do to adapt to this change?
Yeah, one thing that I religiously do and genuinely do is introspect every single day. I spend after dinner at least an hour just sitting idle, thinking how did my day go today? What is that something that I did nice? What is something that I should have avoided? And I tell you genuinely, I do that. It is something that I have been practicing or introspecting for at least 25, 26 years now. It's become my habit. So I spend that 1 hour just relaxing, thinking कि यार कहीं कुछ गड़बड़ तो नहीं हुई, या मैंने कुछ ऐसा तो नहीं किया जिसकी वजह से किसी को कोई तकलीफ हुई हो, या कोई ऐसा डिसीजन जिसकी वजह से कल किसी और को तकलीफ हो. और साथ साथ ये भी, see, as a human being, you know what you are doing right and you are not doing right? Nobody has to tell you that. You know, as a human, everybody has that capability. And when I do it genuinely every day, I'm better prepared for the next day. And in this whole exercise, one thing that happens very nice is that I sleep very well. I sleep every day at 10:30, and I sleep really like a baby. क्योंकि
Wonderful.
आपको शाम तक पता चल गया कि यार कल ये चीज नहीं करनी है और आज ये आपने बहुत अच्छा किया। तो वो इंट्रोस्पेक्शन बहुत जरूरी है फॉर यू टू कंटिन्यू टू डिलीवर वैल्यू एवरी सिंगल डे, continue to engage with a positive environment, with a positive feeling every single day. And I think I have been blessed, and the feedback that I have from my colleagues and people, that they think and they believe that I do dissipate a lot of positivity. And I thank the Almighty कि आपकी बताए रास्ते पे पॉजिटिविटी तो कम से कम लेके चल रहा हूं मैं. And I would like to keep that as one of the most treasured value that I have today. When we talk of spirituality, I break that into three. First of all, I'm very happy that I'm in a very noble profession of agriculture. Yes. And from Chinese to Italian to Indian to South Indian to North Indian, because the world is changing, people look upon you कि परवरिश में कोई ऐसी कमी ना रहे कि कल को ये दोनों बेटियां सोचें काश ये लड़का होती. My mother taught me a lot, my wife taught me a lot, and my children also taught me कि what this young generation wants. बल हमेशा लड़ना सिखाता है, लेकिन बुद्धि हमेशा जीतना सिखाती है. And I would say my greatest learning also came when I met Dr. Abdul Kalam. You know, I'm so fortunate to have met him.